Welcome to Band Geek. I'm Richie Castellano. Joining me today is my co-host, Jarrett Pressman.
What? Hey! Whoa.
This is video today. We're trying to transition from audio-only podcasts to both.
Because we got a lot of requests to see my face and physique, so...
This is available. If you're listening to it on the audio podcast and you want to see us on video, go to YouTube, and I'll be putting this whole thing there. And we're going to try very hard to keep up with that. It's been a while. I've been really busy on the road with BOC, and we've had a lot of long runs, and that's not something we usually do, as you know, because this is probably the most we've ever worked since I joined the band in 2004.
Yeah.
So, and I have a lot of story. Today's episode is really going to be like me showing Jared vacation pictures, and you guys will get to watch us do that. But
everybody knows that showing your friends your vacation pictures is super exciting.
Yeah, and you'll get to see how excited he is on the visual.
Next week's episode, he's going to show me his wedding video.
Well, you were there, so
yeah, but I didn't pay attention.
I have like no desire to go watch that. I guess
ever watch your wedding?
I guess
video?
maybe like on the 10-year anniversary or something, I'll watch it. But I just remember how stressful it was, the whole ordeal.
This is true.
And I'm like, why do I want to relive that? That's let's leave that in the past where it belongs.
I just have the favorite moment where you asked me like 9 months before your wedding, like, would you say something at our wedding, like, for us? And I was like, yeah. And then I completely forgot. And then during Damien, Richie's best man, and Nicole, Anne-Marie's maid of honor, are up there, and Damien's giving his speech, and then Nicole starts giving her speech, and then I feel this on my shoulder, and it's the maitre d' or the wedding planner guy,
yeah.
And he goes, Richie said you're also going to be saying something? And I said, of course I am. Absolutely. Sure.
And then he decided to, off the cuff, tell a story about clogging the bathroom in my parents' house.
This is true.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's another reason I need to watch that video again anytime soon. So, let's get the business out of the way. If you shop on Amazon, please use our Amazon link. That is at, let me see if I can be slick and pull this up here. That's at riotcast.com/bandgeek. And at the top of the page, look at this. Wait, you're going to see an Amazon banner. Look at that.
There, it's over there.
And you click on this banner, and then it takes you right to Amazon, and you can do your shopping just like you normally... No, you can do your shopping just like you normally would, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps the show out. So we appreciate those of you who have been doing that, and if you haven't, it's a very easy step to add before you do your shopping, and we thank you very much. Also, as you can see on the bottom of the screen here, there's a tip jar if you would like to contribute to the show. The show doesn't really generate money, so it's a lot of pocket. So if you want to help us keep the show going, please do so by using that link. It's not clickable. You have to actually put it in your browser. That's something people are confused about.
Oh.
Like they try clicking it, and like, why doesn't it work? And I just keep stopping the video.
The internet's broken.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and now something I have to address is we were doing pretty well with consistently putting out podcasts, and then I had to go away for these long gig runs, and I couldn't do it. Now, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, why don't you, podcast from the road? And I've thought about doing that, and, like, we'll be in a van or a bus, and I take my camera out or my recorder, and I start doing it, and everybody does this to me, like, really? Really, you're doing this now? Because you got to understand something. The way we tour, everybody's tired. We leave very early in the morning. We have long travel days, and no one wants to hear me talking to my recorder. I mean, I guess I could do it, in the hotel room, but if then it's just me talking, I don't know.
It's not Almost Famous. Like you're not.
Yeah.
It's
a job. You know what I mean? And it's an awesome job. It's a great job, but sometimes there are elements of it that aren't as glamorous as you would think. I think that's the best way to put it.
So Richie's point is, be patient.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
but we appreciate your patience.
We appreciate your patience. We love you. We love you very much. Okay, so basically, the way we usually travel with the band is we wake up really early. We get on a plane or two. Then we either get picked up or take rental cars and get to the destination where we're going, and then we try to sleep as much as possible, which is usually an hour or two.
Sure.
Go do sound check, come back, like get ready for the gig, take a shower, whatever, go play, then go to sleep. So there's really not a lot of time to do stuff. But I've been making a real effort to just not sleep and do as much stuff as possible.
Who needs it?
Yeah, because I said, like, when's the next time I'm going to be coming here? I'm trying to do as much stuff as possible. And on one of these last runs, we did like a whole West Coast thing, and we had 2 days off in the middle of that. And I had the option to come home, but I said, you know what, I'm going to stay in LA and do as much stuff as possible. So I really haven't gotten to speak to you that much about it. So I'm going to now tell Jarrett about my LA trip.
I also live vicariously through his Facebook and Instagram when he's not home.
So, okay. We did... Where did we go first? Well, we did a bunch of gigs. We did like some state fair type gigs and I think a theater or two. Actually, the interesting thing is Vinny Innocente, who's one of the band Geeks, he was also there on business because he works for the St. George Theater. Mm-hmm. And get this, he was there for the American like Restored Theater Society or whatever. And they were taking a tour of all the classic old theaters in LA, and it was like a 4-day conference. So he was there, and he called me. He says, hey, I want to come see you play. So I got to hang out with Vinny over there. That was really cool. But
what an odd conference to go to.
Yeah,
there's a conference for everything.
Yeah, so on my first day off in LA, I basically just got to rent a car and did touristy sort of things, and then I hooked up with Dennis Leaflang. Actually, you know what? I'm skipping something. I'm skipping quite a few things. I'm glad I have these pictures here to show me. First, I went to, I think it was on Sunset Boulevard. It's LA's version of what 48th Street in Manhattan used to be.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that?
Like the music district?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And back in the day when I was a kid, 48th Street in Manhattan, West 48th Street, used to be the music district, and there was Rudy's, Manny's.
Is that where Colony was? I know that's not
Colony
like a music store,
Colony was nearby. We Buy Guitars, Colony Music. That was an awesome place. I'm gonna be slick for a second. Watch this. Ready?
They didn't.
What Colony Music did is they had like every. Okay, they had. This is so stupid. They had like every piece of sheet music you could possibly need. Every artist, every musical, classical music, pop music, everything. And I remember like after my dad as a kid would take me to 48th Street, we'd always stop at Colony, and I'd get. I want to learn how to play this song off La Bamba.
Yeah.
And we'd get the sheet music for it.
The benefit there too was that they used to have soundtracks and scores before like Sam Goody or somebody had them. Like I used to go get Broadway scores in 2 weeks before they were released because I got them first.
Right.
But the other thing too is with all the sheet music, Colony was the only place I could ever find that had everything in the right key. Because when you go buy fake books at and regular music stores, Sam Ash, or they used to sell them in like Sam Goody and The Wall and FYE and stuff like that too, they were always in some other weird key. And for some reason, Colony always had the books that always had the correct key the way you hear it on the record.
For legal purposes.
I don't know, but it felt like it was the same books, but it was just a lot. Like it was when you see those like old TV shows and movies and stuff like that, where there's like a library and it's just like rows and rows of shelves and books and stuff like that. Like that's what it looked like. It was amazing.
But now the internet has basically wiped out the need for a store like Colony.
They also had the largest karaoke section I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was an awesome store. But 48th Street was the place. I remember when I was a kid and I had the 16-track recorder that I recorded my first album on, and the only place to get Ampex 456 half-inch tape for the 16-track was 48th Street. So I remember my dad would be taking a trip out. I'm like, Dad, and I'd give him like $40 that I'd saved up. Buy me another reel of tape. I need to record. So he used to come home with like a reel of tape and a couple of those TDK Pro cassette tapes. So
TDK Pro 2.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I would record on.
Ooh, 30 minutes, high quality.
The reels were ridiculous. The reels were like 40 minutes of recording, and it was like a minute per
like $1
a minute. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So it wasn't like now where you can have 20 different takes of the song. Like if you screwed the song up, erase, go until you got it right.
And the more you erased, the more it sounded crappier on the reels because you were taping over tape.
So what Sunset is I'm gonna laugh every time I do this.
For those who are listening to the audio version, Richie just keeps switching cameras. So
I bought a second camera, so now I'm like going back and forth. So what Sunset is it's almost their version of that, but even that is not what it used to be.
Sure.
The first place I walked into, they have a Mesa Boogie store there, which is just like dedicated to Mesa Boogie amps, and I took a picture of it, I believe. Oh, that's not it. Well, I took one picture because it was a guitar I liked.
On the video, if you see me leaning forward, it's because I'm actually looking at the monitor because I have not seen these
pictures. I always want to try out that new John Petrucci amp, which is up here.
Ooh, Jonathan Petrucci.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And they had a really nice selection of guitars. You know what was funny? I walked into the store. I'm like, oh, yeah, my name is Richie. I play at Blue Oyster Cult. We're on tour. I'm a couple days off, checking out the stores. And they're like, oh, where you from? I'm like, I'm from Staten Island. And the guy behind the counter goes, do you know Rocco? Former band guest Rocco Monterosso. So
that's pretty amazing.
This was actually an interesting guitar I saw. This was a Bill Nash guitar, and he makes like an 80s sort of Charvel thing, as you could tell from the color.
I like that color.
Yeah, this was a rocking guitar, and they had every single model of Mesa Boogie amp. So that was a very cool store. But the guy was telling me that a lot of the smaller stores closed, and basically it's like Guitar Center and Sam Ash now. But the interesting thing about Sam Ash, just bringing this back to my original point, the Sam Ash store in L.A. is a replica of Manny's from 48th Street.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so I walked in there and I'm like, this looks oddly familiar.
Interesting.
And I asked him about it. He said, oh yeah, this is set up to look like Manny's from back in the day, because I think they bought Manny's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. The Guitar Center there had this sort of made to look old room, as you can see here, which is they had like this little porch, and that was pretty cool.
Oh,
I don't want to give Guitar Center an ad, so there you go.
I mean, unless you'd like to sponsor us, Guitar Center.
But I also did some stupid sightseeing. I went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Yeah. What?
It was okay.
I just like chicken and waffles.
I thought it was gonna be like it was just like an average piece of chicken and an average waffle. Maybe I went on an off day.
Maybe.
But I walked around the neighborhood and I wanted to do a little bit of sightseeing, and I saw.
You know what? That's like
I saw Capitol Records, and all that stuff.
That's like going to like if you go to Philly and it's like the Geno's Pats thing, and then if you meet people in Philly, like we don't go to either of those places.
Yeah. So Jarrett and I are big fans of The Nerdist. I mean, we obviously that was an inspiration for us to do this podcast.
Correct.
And we know that they record a lot of their shows out of Meltdown Comics. So here's an image I actually sent Jarrett. It's me at Meltdown with the big Nerdist logo in the back.
And that's Alan Alda in the middle.
Oh, yeah, look at that. So they were having an open mic comedy show at like 6 p.m. on a Monday.
Well, so for people who don't know what Meltdown is Meltdown is a comic book store, and then I think it's called the Nerd Melt Showroom.
They have like a little black box theater in the back.
In the back.
Yeah. It can fit about 30 people.
Yeah.
Watching. And the interesting thing, I never, you're more into comedy than I am. Like, I've never actually watched open mics like on a weekday. Mm-hmm. And basically it's guys working out their material. And so this guy, for example, told a story. He's like, yo, you know what I buy a lot of? Baby wipes. I love baby. Everybody's kind of giggling. Yeah. I love baby wipes. I use them. I clean my floors with them. And he's like, and he's telling this whole story about baby wipes, and everybody's sort of giggling. And then like, he goes, yeah, I'm sorry. See you later. And he just walks up the stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that happened like 3 times. Like, people would start like working out stuff, and they would just apologize and say, okay, thanks for your time, bye.
I think it's like...
Did you ever do that while you were doing stand-up?
The very, very, very first time I did stand-up, I did have a brain fart for about 30 seconds because I just completely lost my place like in my story.
Yeah.
But I found my way back.
Well, these guys got 3 minutes each.
When your open mics are different than like open comedy nights. So like an open mic, like I'm assuming something like that would have been like somebody could have done stand-up, somebody could have done slam poetry, somebody could have played guitar, versus just like a straight up comedy night.
Right.
Straight up comedy nights usually you get like 3 to 5. That makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to go see a show there.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome.
And it was interesting, but I could only take about so much. One guy was really funny. He goes, "Any football fans here?" And the place was quiet. He goes, "Shit, I just prepared a football story for a comic book store."
It's actually very funny.
Yeah.
But if he keeps that and uses it to his advantage later.
So I'm walking around. I'm looking for stuff to buy, and there was a DC comic I wanted to get, but I said I better wait because I know what I'm doing tomorrow, and I'm going to get to that. And I said I better not buy anything yet. And I was looking for stuff, and I'm looking around, and I see a guy with spiky silver hair, and he looks like Chris Gore. Now, Jarrett and I used to be huge fans of the G4 cable channel.
Yes.
Right. And that's if you're not sure what that was a cable channel in the mid to late 2000s.
Yeah.
That was just dedicated to video games and geek stuff,
Pop culture, but like gaming hardware, computers,
right? And they had
tech.
And I was just glued to that channel. That channel just stayed on all day for me. And it actually launched Olivia Munn, who's like a big superstar now. Like that was where she started,
right,
in G4. But their film critic was this guy Chris Gore, who was really funny, and I liked him, and I thought I recognized him, and I did the quick look up on the phone. I was like, oh shit, that's him.
Yeah.
So I went up to him and I said, Chris Gore? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm a fan of yours. I watched you back in Two Shot. Okay.
2 over 2 Shot.
Yeah.
You're Kevin Smith.
I watched you back in the G4 days.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it's so cool. Thank you so much. And then I guess because I was in LA, I felt the compulsion to say like, I play with Blue Oyster Cult. and he went, Blue Oyster Cult? How old are you?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm 37. And he goes, I said, I've been in the band for about 13 years. And he said, my first concert ever was Blue Oyster Cult at Pine Knob Theater. And I said, in Detroit.
Yeah.
And he, it was funny. And that was his first show when he was 13 years old.
Right on.
And then I thought I just wanted to say hi and I appreciate you and goodbye. But then he was like, "Hey, come back here. We're having a party." So in like the back of the comic store, they were having a pre-game Comic-Con party.
Okay. Oh yeah,
so
that's right. Okay.
All of a sudden, like
Makes
I
sense.
just walked in just to be a geek, and all of a sudden I'm in an exclusive LA party
with Sarah Underwood there.
No,
tell me.
I looked.
Damn.
And all these. The guy's like, oh, eat, drink, whatever you want. I didn't know what to do. And then 2 people just start coming up to me and talking to me. Like one guy used to work for Disney, and he's like, oh yeah, I know J.J. Abrams. His kids are so nice. And I'm thinking like, what am I doing here?
Do you think it was like a Hollywood party where it was just like, I'm gonna tell you the most impressive thing I know. My kids go to school with the dog from Frasier's owner. Like,
I don't know if it was that, but I found myself doing it, which I was like, what are you saying, Richie?
if there's any place where you can do it, that's the place to do it.
I was like, because Chris introduced me to these 2 other guys, and he goes, oh, this is Richie. I was like, hi, I'm Richie. I play with Blue Oyster Cult. The guy goes, oh, you just dropped that in there. I was like, sorry.
Otherwise, it's like, hi, I'm Richie. I'm on vacation from New York.
Yeah, I'm here on vacation. I like comic books. So, but and the guy said, as you should, because that's a cool thing that
Sure.
Okay.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. So, and I was just there, and I didn't know what I was doing there, but I was just sort of enjoying the moment, being in a comic book store, like one of the most famous comic book stores in the country, being at the San Diego Comic-Con pre-show.
Right.
Like pre-game.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Pre-party, pre-game thing.
But then I had to go meet up with Dennis Leaflang. Now, I'm sure you guys remember Dennis. I gotta close all these tabs. Dennis has been a guest on the show before. He was on twice. He had his own episode.
Yes.
And then he played on the Rocco episode.
He is Dutch.
He is. And if you guys saw the Trader Joe's video we did once, that was Dennis.
Is that Boromir?
I'll show you that picture in a
Is
second.
that Ned Stark?
Okay, so I'll get to that. So later that night, we went to the Rainbow. I'd never been to the Rainbow before.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
The Rainbow Bar and Grill. It's a famous LA hang.
Okay.
Like Lemmy used to be a permanent fixture there.
Sure.
And I had LA pizza, which wasn't particularly good.
California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was fine. But the cool thing is the Rainbow is sort of like a museum. They have like Eddie Van Halen's guitar on the wall. They have all this gack everywhere, and it was a really cool hang. And then Dennis, I called him months ago. I said, "Hey, I'm coming to LA. I'd like to go play or whatever." And he arranged for us to sit in at this place called the Viper Room.
Sure, that I know.
So here's a picture here that I will bring up now. This is that's me in the center, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mark Rucci, who I don't know if has Mark been on the show.
No.
But we talked about Mark on the Sharon Jones episode because Mark was the one that restored my old tape.
Yes.
So here's Mark. Mark's he does monitors. He basically subbed, or I guess replaced Andy.
Sure.
With Blue Oyster Cult. Here's Jimbo. That's Jim Mears.
Oh, that's Jim. Okay.
Yeah, Jimbo does the other side, does my side of the stage. Jimbo used to work with Foghat, and then we inherited him from Foghat, and now he's also Mark Farner's tour manager.
People have brought up the fact that he looks like Ned Stark, right?
No, but now that you say it, I think it's just his picture. He looks majestic as hell in this picture. But then...
Tis a funny thing.
Yes. This is Vinny Innocente, and that's Dennis back there in the picture. And this is at this place called the Viper Room. And the Viper Room it's the way they do jams out there is a little different than the way they do jams on the East Coast in New York. Like a jam, an open mic is like basically a bunch of guys, a house band, they play a little bit, and then like there might be a sign-up sheet, or you go say, hey, I want to sit in,
right?
And say you play guitar, right? You brought your guitar with you, and you get up on stage, and then the band goes, okay, what would you like to play? And you say, oh, I want to play Going Down, Freddie King. Okay, what key? You singing it?
Sure.
No, okay, you don't sing it? All right, we need a singer. You sing? All right, who wants to play bass? And then you put like a little patched together band, and then you do Going Down, and it's mostly, there's a lot of like soloing. Like, like you'll play a solo, I'll play a solo, there's, everybody, we do a little trading, and everything's like a 7-minute version of every song, and it's more focused on chops and playing.
Was it like the jams, the painters jams?
No, because the painters jams is like what I'm just describing. It's like guys come up to play, to show off a little bit, I guess, or show what they got.
Right.
But this is different because the thing about this is it's like a very prearranged sort of jam, and you like weeks before you have to sign up, and they tell you what song you're going to be playing, and with who, and you go there, and it's done like to the minute, which was different, but I guess that's how they do it out there, which is fine. And the other interesting thing about the Viper Room is I was like the oldest person there. At least I felt like that, because it was instead of like the older person jam, which I usually go to, which is mostly guys in their 40s and 50s.
Right. This
was like people that were like 21 to 26.
Okay.
Mostly. And when Dennis did all this, Dennis was like my sort of host while I was there.
Sure.
He talked to the guy running the jam ahead of time. He goes, hey, my friend plays with Blue Oyster Cult. He wants to come and sit in with you guys. And the guy said, okay, he'll do Burning for You. And Dennis is like, well, he can play a lot of other songs.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, he's in Blue Oyster Cult. They'll do Burning for You. So Mark took a little video on his on his cell phone. I'll try to show you a picture of that now. This is my Instagram, by the way. Sounds great, right? So anyway, that's that.
It's a little odd that actually from the silhouettes of the haircuts in the crowd, you can actually tell that it's in Los Angeles.
Like Dennis was, he was sort of like, hey, are you sure you're okay with playing Burning for You? I'm like, well, I know it, so
yeah.
It's better than, picking a song I don't know and I can't play.
Right.
So it was cool. Everybody was nice. And then another cool thing is the guitar player from Puddle of Mud was there at that jam.
Okay.
And he came up to me. He was like, that was my first ever talent show song when I was in high school. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it was like a really nice night. We got to stop at the Whiskey A Go Go,
Sure.
and there was a like heaviest of heavy hardcore metal band playing there, and that's a cool place. There's a lot of history there. I guess that's the Sunset Strip, I guess.
Yeah, that's a huge LA music scene that actually like is still thriving.
Yeah,
which is cool.
So the next day, I had I got this really cool opportunity, and this is not because of being in a rock band or anything like that. I have one student that I teach on Skype, and his best friend's cousin works at DC Comics.
Interesting.
And he told me, hey, if you ever are interested in going to check out DC Comics headquarters in LA, I can arrange that for you. I'm like, yes, I am very interested in doing that. Thank you very much.
No, I don't care about your Detective Comics.
Yeah, exactly. So I told Eric also decided to stay behind in LA instead of going back and forth. So we went and I pushed DC Comics into the my GPS, and we drove up there, and we went right onto the Warner Brothers lot. And then the guard stopped us and said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "DC Comics." He goes, "No, it's not here. Please leave the lot immediately. Make a U-turn and come right out." So for about 45 seconds, I was in the Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? That's where Batman lives.
that is where Batman
That's
lives.
where Ben Affleck poops, on the Warner Brothers lot.
This is true.
So I drove right out.
I have a less interesting story about being on the Warner Brothers lot, but
you were on the Warner Brothers lot?
Yeah.
Go.
When I went to visit LA a couple of years ago, a friend of mine was working for NBC. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry, Universal lot. Never mind. Different.
Not even related.
Not even related.
Not even related. So,
but it's very exciting when you do pull up to the guard and you're like, yes, I have a drive on today for this person.
Yeah.
Oh, they're expecting you. Go right in, sir.
Yeah, I went in and I'm going, yeah, I'm here to see so and so, DC Comics. He's like, you're on the list. And then Eric starts flipping out, like, what do you mean? I'm like,
oh my god.
He's like, did you call the guy? Tell him we got. I'm like, I called the guy. He knows we're going. So we actually found the building and industrial space.
Yeah.
And we go up, and then as soon as you walk into the office, you realize you're in the coolest place on the planet.
So jealous.
Their waiting room is the Fortress of Solitude. It's built to...
What?
Yeah, I don't know if I got a good picture of it, but here's... this is not a great picture. I wasn't sure what to take pictures of because this was the hardest place to take pictures because they were sort of like...
Everything's in glass.
Yeah, but if you could see the ceiling, it's like all crystal-y and stuff. And see how it's like all circular here in the background?
Yeah.
It's supposed to look like the Fortress of Solitude.
That's cool.
So here's a...
Wait, and is it like there's green chairs or something like that? Or
They had a lot of crazy stuff. But here they had like the Batman, the Bale Batman costume. They had the Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah.
They had all the Green Lanterns with the
dope.
rings in their waiting room, and they had like the chest. It was amazing. Now, the only problem with this is that they were sort of like not letting me take pictures of anything else.
Sure.
They're like, you can take pictures in the waiting room, and if they let you in the vault, you can, but not really anywhere else. So. What I'll have to do is just sort of describe to you what I saw.
Yeah, well, because God forbid you like snap a picture and then there's like some sort of issue on somebody's desk or a script or something.
Right. So, the lobby is just impressive, and everywhere you look is just gack. Like there's like 6 giant Batman statues everywhere in various poses, and they're all the Bale Batman.
Yeah.
They said they're supposed to like rotate them over, but everybody there is like such a fan of Bale that they keep it up.
Interesting.
They have like every single like Wonder Woman and Green Lantern statue and Superman. It's like every little corner of the space has like art or stuff.
Right.
Another cool thing is a few days earlier to that, we played in Santa Cruz, and our friend Mick Gray came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he actually let me go grab something really quick.
That actually was the. I originally when you said you were going to DC Comics, I thought that's who hooked it up for you. Mm-hmm. Because I know that if I was going out to California, he would be the first person that I reached out to.
Actually, I hung with Mick at that Santa Cruz gig, and he sent us this for the Band Geek studio. So this is a
what?
Yeah, this is
it's
a
kind of big. Yeah.
So I can show you guys this.
And that's a page he inked.
Yeah, he inked this. This is his original art, and so that's going to be proudly displayed in our Band Geek studio. Thank you very much, Mick. We really appreciate that.
That's dope. Oh, that's super dope.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So Mick Gray, check out his work.
You can also listen to him on the Band Geek podcast. He has his own episode.
That's right. But anyway, like they were mentioning that while I was there. I was like, they said, "Oh, Mick Gray, he called, told us you were coming," and
that's cool.
And everybody's desk at DC, like it's cubicles, like you would expect.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's a big company. Everybody's desk has a different like theme. Like everybody's into something else, and all the executive offices, they have like sliding doors with like original painted versions of each superhero.
That I feel like I've seen in some kind of special or like documentary or something like that.
Yeah.
That it looks like comic book panels. But
Yeah, everything is very purposely done, and a story. Like there was one guy's desk, he had only black and white DC action figures.
That's
he had
cool.
every one of them. Like that's what it's not just like 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 I'm sure your desk at work has some stuff on it.
Yeah.
And like here's a Batman, here's Marty McFly, here's a Ghostbuster. Like no, it's like they're very themed. One guy was into the Flash. He had every Flash action figure, every different one. It was like a sea of red, like 40 action figures, and then on a big mannequin he had his cosplay Flash that he built out of like yoga mats.
Yeah.
And looked ridiculous.
That's insane.
One chick had like all Star Wars stuff. It was everybody had themes, and they had
so not limited to DC. It was
No,
just
but it was
whatever you're in. Like
it was mostly DC, but
it's like if you're into something, like go for it.
Yeah, let it fly. They had the letter wall from Stranger Things up.
Oh, that's cool.
I said, "Why do you have this?" They said, "Oh, we take Halloween very seriously." They said
that's awesome.
their whole office goes apeshit for Halloween, and it's just insane. We actually saw they have a video game testing room because they have to test the video games and let the people making them know if they're accurate.
Sure.
You can't go in there. There's a camera there. It's everything. Like the security was very tight.
Sure.
And they have like a whole the comic department. But the thing about the comic books is most of them are written by guys at home.
Right.
Like almost all the comic book artists are independent contractors. So what they're sort of dealing with, what they're doing is making sure everything is cohesive. Like the TV shows, the movies, the toys, the video games, the books, like everything is the message they want, and everything's rolled out at the right schedule.
Right.
Like, Lego will say, "Hey, we want to use your characters," and they'll say, "Well, Supergirl's big right now because she has a TV show, so here's some approved Supergirl artwork for your Legos."
Right.
So it was like that. It was just so much to take in. I'm trying to like remember it as I tell it to you.
Well, I'm sure a majority of the people that you saw at those cubicles are like, I work in legal, I'm accounting, I'm payroll.
But everybody,
But it's just still, it doesn't matter.
Everybody was
It's
so
like,
happy
You're
'cause
payroll for DC Comics.
right. It just seemed like it's such a great place to work.
Sure.
So we're walking through, and they brought us to the pit. Right.
What is the pit?
The pit is their digital. I think that's what they called it. It was their digital division.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they're digitizing like 70 plus years or 80 years of DC Comics.
Okay.
And so what they'll do is they'll scan it, and then I saw it. The artists will sit there and draw out the yellowing and the creases on the old comics.
Oh, so
and
they're like scanning pages and restoring them.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then
That's gotta be
one
painstaking.
guy said my job is automating it because when you read it on like Comixology, did you ever read a comic on Comixology?
Yeah. It goes from panel to panel,
Yeah,
and it.
I could even show you how that works. I'll pull up my comics. Look at this. I'm very interactive today.
I love Comixology.
Let's see if I can pull up an actual. Anyway, here's a comic book. It's not a DC comic book, sorry. But if I just, why is that not working now?
Is that the end of
there
it?
There we go. No. If I just like move the page like that, it's automated in what it shows me. So what that guy does is his job was to pick what
frame comes
the
next,
viewers in the show. Yeah, so I've actually been doing a lot of my media on the iPad now. I've gone mostly digital just because I have like a room full of comics that I don't know what to do with anymore.
Right.
I don't think they're worth anything.
See, but I bought a book recently, and I needed to physically buy the book because I figured if it was on my iPad, I'd be like, okay, chapter 1. Let me look at boobies. Like, it's too tempting. It's like I want to put down the iPad to read a physical dead
No,
tree.
I get that. But for me, it's I do most of my reading on the road,
Sure.
so I don't want to carry a bunch of crap with me.
You
But
used to.
I used to do it.
I remember when I used to take you to the airport, and you'd be like, okay, stage clothes, this amp, this my pod, whatever, and then you would have just your book bag, and it would just be like, all right, I'm reading this trade. I want to read this again. It's a 9-hour flight, so this one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a stack.
So then the cool thing is we went back into the guy who hooked us up. We went to his office, and he was like, well, would you like to read anything? And I said, actually, I haven't gotten a chance to read Grant Morrison's Wonder Woman yet. And he reached into, he goes, oh, okay. And in his office, he had like everything. He reached into his shelf and he was like, here you go. So I read it, and it was very cool. It was very, very interesting. Wonder Woman says "Ola" a lot. Stop touching your boob.
Let's go. Caught between two worlds belonging to
If you want to borrow that, you can.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
Don't read it now in front of everybody.
Maybe I will. What's this? Oh.
It's a bookmark from the Burbank Public Library. So after the tour ended in the vault. Now, the vault, their purpose is to archive, it's a library, everything that DC Comics did. They said, supposedly they have everything except for 50.
Interesting.
When I spoke to them, they said it's more like 2,000. But they know where a lot of that is because it's their assets that they loaned to people.
Okay.
And they're waiting to get a lot of that back. But like really like the hard stuff they're looking for, there's like about 50 that they don't have.
Right.
And the thing is, it's not like a priority, so it's not like Warner Brothers is giving them, here's $4 million, go get all the comics you're missing.
Right, because a lot of them have to be with collectors and private collections.
The issue is that if they want, all right, say they're missing Superman Action Comics number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for example, right? And they want to have one in their archive, right? A collector will be like, okay, this is mint condition, never been opened. You can have it for $200,000. And they're like, no, we're not paying that.
Right.
What they want is one that's beat to shit, that just has the story in it. They don't care about the cover because the covers, you can find the covers everywhere.
Right.
They want to have an archive of the story and the work within. They were telling me that one version of a comic they just bought had the kid's name on it.
Oh.
It said like, Norman, and he wrote it on it, and they were like, that's fine. I'm like, really? They said, yeah.
They can take it out.
I realized because what's going to happen is they're going to have to open the thing. So even if they spend $200,000 on a comic, it's coming out of that hard plastic. They're going to flatten it on a scanner.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's that. So if it's beat to shit already, they'll just take it and they'll erase Norman's name.
Yeah, so they can take out yellowing, they can take out everything, and then they have a pristine version of
Right.
it. And it's cheaper for them to do that because they're paying salaries for 20 people.
Right. So
that are working on 10 comics
Right.
at a time,
So they were telling us a story about when they moved from New York. They had like armored trucks bring the whole collection.
That's insane.
And it's like something like several tons of comic books, and it had to be in the basement of the building because it would break through the heavier.
Oh, because it was so heavy.
It was so heavy.
And then the Joker tried to knock over the armored cars.
Yeah, exactly. What the guys who were actually I shouldn't tell that story. Anyway, the guys were saying that they had to once take Action Comics #1 out and bring it to another location, and they said they were very nervous while they were doing it.
Clearly.
So they had other stuff, but most of it was like library shelves with bound editions, and you opened it up and all the comics were in there bound.
Sure.
And the interesting thing was he went to like Eric, and he said, "What's your favorite comic book character?" And Eric said, "Well, when I was a kid, it was Blackhawks."
Yeah, the World War II
right.
pilots.
And they said, "Oh, okay." And the guy goes, "Okay, come with me." And we go to the library. He pulls out a volume. He goes, "Here's the first appearance of the Blackhawks, 1947 or whatever, or 1942."
Yeah.
And Eric's like, "Well, that's before my time." And he's like, "Well, when did you start reading?" Eric's like, "Early 50s." He goes, "Okay, here." He goes, "Does this look familiar to you?"
That's insane.
And then and he asked me like, "What about you?" I said, "Well, the Huntress is my favorite one." And he showed me like her first like 1970 something, late 70s appearance.
She's wearing like a skirt.
She's got like that weird pink and purple outfit on.
Yeah.
And that's when she was Helena Wayne.
Right.
And I said, "This is amazing, but I'm actually a Helena Bertinelli fan because she's Sicilian.
Right.
And I'm half Sicilian, and that's the only Sicilian superhero I know about, and I really like her because she like beats up mobsters and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like kind of really a specific thing." And I said, "Oh, okay." And they went to like their database, and then Helena Bertinelli, okay, and they pulled out that first issue
Where she was Bertinelli.
Yeah, and they showed it to me, and it was awesome. Like it was like pristine. Hi.
Hello.
Anne Marie's here, but she's not coming on screen.
How's your quads and your glutes, bruh?
I'm not gonna be able to move tomorrow.
Oh, great.
So this you're on screen now. You happy? Okay.
Anne-Marie and I passed each other as I was leaving the gym. She was going to her abs and body class.
So
Let me flex for the good people.
Yeah.
we were in.
Hey, look, the tip jar just exploded.
Oh, wow.
When Anne Marie was flexing.
With my guns, exploded the tip jar.
So they had like a glass case when we walked in, and they had what they called ash can versions of the comics.
Okay.
And I think if I'm saying this correctly, and if I'm not, feel free to flame me and send me hate mail. But it was like spiral bound editions.
Okay.
And it was like it was sort of like the proof for when they would before they would go to print with it.
Okay.
And the guy had an ash can edition of Action Comics #1 behind the glass case. And he said, "You see that copy?" He goes, "Every single digital scan is from that copy.
Wow.
Every time you've seen a page from Action Comics #1, it's from that copy."
Interesting.
So, and he had like Detective, whatever it was, with Batman's first appearance.
They're bigger, though, right? Those...
No,
Were they
the
at that time?
The original comics, it was like Fun Comics. That's what DC started as.
Sure.
And it was huge. And what they decided is if you fold it in half, you can get double the comic and more space, more printing space. So it was this big format that they ended up folding in half to have more real estate and charge more.
I see.
For the same paper,
Got it.
essentially.
Because then I mean, like now I know this is commonplace, but like you look at this, like this isn't a print, like this is this is the actual like
That's what
size of the page.
what he actually drew on and then inked on. Yeah.
It's so cool.
So he had, they had all that, and they had all like those early Fun Comics, and they said Detective Comics was such a popular series that they ended up changing the name of the company to DC.
Sure.
So he had all sorts of interesting things, and besides having just comics, they had like cereal boxes. They had they pulled out like a big black drawer, and they had like every flattened cereal box from like Superman, Batman, any mention of them that was there.
It's funny that you bring that up.
Why?
Because I ate a 30-year-old box of Batman cereal recently.
What did that taste
Your
like?
story is more interesting. Continue. I'll tell that in a minute.
Okay, so this chair keeps thinking, no wonder why I buy no one of these. Anyway, so they had the blueprints to the Val Kilmer Batmobile.
Oh, cool. Oh, wait, is that the
one with the rib cage and the glowing
Oh,
blue.
yeah, like where it looked like it was breathing.
They had every sort of weird thing.
Interesting.
They had Wonder Woman's ambassadorship plaque
Oh,
the
cool.
UN.
That's awesome.
They also had Brandon Routh's someone just started following me. Thank you. They had Brandon Routh's face cast
Oh, for
Superman Returns.
Returns.
They also had Nick Cage's.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Have you watched that yet?
No.
The Death of Superman Lives.
Here's a shot of what it looked like. And I asked them, like, can I take pictures down here? And they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here they don't care because it's an archive.
Yeah, and also it's well secured.
Yeah.
But as you can see in the background, there's all the bound books. And they also gave us some comics to take home.
That's
And I want you to show nice people the comics that they gave you.
So I got a.
Now, did you have that when you were a kid?
I did.
I read the shit out of that.
I did because that was like a big thing because you really couldn't, with the exception of having like a VHS tape and toys.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything else tangible for like a movie.
This is the Batman movie
So,
comic.
You can see there.
You want to go to that camera? You want to be slick?
Oh yeah, hey.
Oh, look at that! Wow!
Hey.
That's amazing. So it's the 1989 Batman movie special comic.
Comes out June 23rd.
Yep. And that's in pristine condition.
Yeah, it's great. And then I got, this isn't Batman, but Sword.
That's from an Atari game.
Yeah. Sword Quest. The artwork on it is fantastic.
You know what's amazing? I'm reading Ready Player One now, and I think that's part of it.
Oh, Sword Quest.
Well, just there's a lot of Atari references. Let's put it
Oh.
that way. I can't remember though.
And then this other issue is 1980, and I was playing with it before, but it was telling Richie, it's the superheroes. Look, it's Superman and Aquaman and Lady Shazam.
Oh, here's another interesting picture.
So great.
Oh, actually, here you can see it here in the background. Let's see if I can zoom.
Oh,
in.
there is that Brandon. There's Nick Cage.
There's Nick Cage.
Oh, see, that's what I knew there was.
So all these drawers are filled with like all weird shit, like blueprints and cereal boxes and.
If you zoom up and to the left, I pointed it out when you sent me that picture.
Yeah.
There's an issue of the Daily Planet there.
Oh, yeah.
Top mafia bosses are caught red-handed. I don't know what that's from, but still.
So this is actually a picture of me holding Action Comics #1, no cover, but that's it. That's the first appearance of Superman.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
Pretty-
And even that in your hands, even that like no cover, not pristine, like all beat up, there's tape on it and stuff like that. Still worth more than your house.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's a little ripped here.
Yeah.
See that?
But they can fix all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they have 20 of those all.
I don't think they have 20. I mean, they were telling me their budget's not huge.
Okay.
But they're just trying to be an archive, have everything.
Sure.
So then after that, Eric and I actually went to Fry's Electronics, which I don't have a picture from.
I've ordered from Fry's.
It was really, really weird. They had in LA, each Fry's has a theme.
Oh.
So the one we went to in Burbank had a flying saucer crash into the front of the building.
That's cool.
And all this like 50 sci-fi decor. And if I had a Fry's near me, I would it would be terrible. I'd be there all the time and I'd spend too much money.
Yeah.
It was just like they had you could basically walk in there with a shopping cart and build a computer, like a hot shit gaming computer, and like nuts to bolts. You know what I mean? Like just towers, cooling systems, motherboards, CPUs, memory drives, graphics processors, peripherals, everything.
So what you're saying is that if I want to build an actual sex bot, I need to go to a Fry's.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But then after that, we went to the legendary Norman's Rare Guitars, which you will know from Spinal Tap.
Yes.
Because he's wearing a Norman's Rare Guitar shirt, which I bought.
Oh, wow.
And doesn't fit me.
Did you cut off the sleeves?
I should. Yeah, I'm on the wrong.
Oh, hey, what?
So, it's all beautiful, rare guitars, just like the name suggests.
Yeah.
So it's more than just a clever. Oh, and look, and Dennis visited me while I was there.
Hey.
And me and Eric were there, and the funny thing that Dennis said is he was like interviewing somebody who I really wasn't sure who they were, but he was like the owner was there, and I wanted to introduce myself to him, but he was busy. And Dennis thought it was really amusing that half of Blue Oyster Cult just walked in, and he was oblivious to it.
That's very funny.
Yeah. So we did that, and that was mine and Eric's really cool day of doing all this sort of, geeking out sort of stuff. But it didn't end there, because the next day we had to go from LA and we had to drive up 4 hours to Paso Robles to do a state fair sort of thing. And I looked on the map, because I figured I was going to have to drive the rental car. I looked at the map and I saw San Luis Obispo, or San Luis Obispo, I think it's called. San Luis Obispo, right before Paso Robles on the map. Now, San Luis is the home of Music Man Guitars.
Yes.
So I since I'm 16 years old, have wanted to go to that building. And I called them up. I said, hey, I'd like to, if it's okay, come check it out. Maybe some of the other guys in the band want to come. And Eric, Buck, and Danny, they came with me. We all got a tour. And the tour we got was from, this is a piece of wood, to this is a finished guitar. And they were like, photograph whatever you want. So I got some good stuff here that I'll bring you guys through. Here we go. So here is their just stacks of different kinds of wood. And then they put them in the the planing machines and the various, and you can see in the back here how they're starting to become bodies.
I love that machine. I don't know what it does. But
Oh yeah. Oh, and this is their book matching system here. Is like they'll take two pieces of wood and try to match the grain up, because if you look at, let me grab a guitar here just to show you. Here's a guitar with a nice top. Switch the cameras. So if you look at this guitar here, this is not one piece of wood. This is actually two pieces of wood. You can see the seam right there. Let me show this to you. Sorry. So there's a seam here. This is one piece of wood. This is another piece of wood, and their job is to book match this as best as they can to make the flame pattern or the quilt pattern flow from one side to the other. So in this picture here, they put a mark there so they can show where it matches up, and then they glue them together. And that's that. So now we have some sort of this was interesting. They also do some guitars that are neck through, and that's the new John Petrucci guitar, and that's a neck through body. So instead of making the body, I'm away from the microphone. Instead of making the body separate from the neck, they have to put it on all at once.
Yeah.
So you can.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so it's that middle piece.
Yeah.
And then that bottom is. I got you.
So that's a neck. And this, They were just showing us. Oh, this is the roasted maple that they're showing us here, I believe. They have a process which is roasted maple necks. Sorry, I'm giving visual aids here. This is a roasted maple neck right here. As you can see, it's a little darker than a normal maple neck. Normal maple has like a sort of paler, finish to it. And what they do is they get this baked from wherever their supplier is, and the actual, like how there's maple syrup in trees?
Sure.
Like the actual maple sugar is what gives it the brown color. And it has a different sound. He picked up like a piece of like regular maple, dropped it, and then he picked up the baked maple or the roasted maple, and it actually had a different sound, which I thought was really awesome. They also have at that company, there are several machines that actually make the bodies. So they start here with this plank of wood, they grab it, and the machine loads it into a CNC machine,
Sure.
and it actually routes out the whole body.
Hey, that arm is the thing from Iron Man that he hates.
Yep. What did he call it?
I don't know. Did it have a name?
I thought we called it like dummy or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I call everyone dummy.
So now in this picture here,
Oh, this is how guitars are born.
we start seeing the neck take shape, and that's that Petrucci with the neck through body sort of thing. And let's go through here. Oh, I'm missing some video. Let's put a video on. How about that? I think I have one.
As long as it's not just... Oh.
Okay, this is cool. So let's show this. Damn it.
Thought you were all slick.
I'm slick. I'm still slick. Watch. Ready?
Eh.
All right. So here's one of the CNC machines. It's routing out the back of what looks like, I think, a Majesty guitar.
Today on How It's Made,
Right.
guitar necks.
Oh, and there's all the tools.
Burp,
Is this, CNC?
burp, burp. Cool.
Pretty awesome, right?
Yeah. It's all laser precision too.
Yep.
That's very cool, but then like you think about people doing it by hand, 30 years ago,
Right.
40 years ago.
Well, half of their operation is by hand. They only have the machines can only do so much. Like a lot of their finishing work is. Well, we'll get to that because I took a lot of pictures. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, that was an interesting clip.
That was a good clip.
Okay, so here's an example of some handwork. I don't know. So here's a guy checking the neck, by hand, finishing it, he's putting the actual radius into the neck. Yeah, so he's checking with the tool. So yeah, there is quite a bit of handwork. I mean, I think they're trying to go more automated as they, as much as they can.
Sure.
Here's another really cool shot of the robot.
I want to learn how to play.
Teach me how to feel.
Teach me what you call love.
Here's a rack of finished necks. Yeah, that was cool. And this guy is,
Is the Music Man.
yeah. I think I took a picture of this. Let's see. Yeah. So he's
he's
actually
sanding it out.
Yeah. Sanding out the neck. Oh. I'll get better at this, I promise. So
No, it's fun when you're terrible at things.
oh, here, look at this color. This
Oh, wow.
is like a really cool
Does that look so tiny?
purple. Oh, they're smaller guitars than standard. Like I like a smaller guitar, so that's why it's good for me.
It's like an Anne Marie size
Yeah.
guitar. That's actually an Anne Marie guitar.
Yeah.
Because it's purple.
And here's a cool shot of Danny and Buck checking out the guitars here. There's Eric's hat.
Hello, Eric's hat. Where are you at?
So now we're going into, I think this is painting. They're starting to finish the guitars. See, everything's taped to be painted.
Yeah.
And so we have sort of the structure of the guitar
And
right
again,
there.
yeah, the people that are watching, you have to understand too. This is all just wood.
Yeah.
Like it's just there's nothing else on it yet. Like this is a huge process just to get the shape and the paint and the smoothness and everything down first.
This is interesting. This guy
Looks like they're curing.
yeah. Check this out. So these are what the tops look like on the guitars before they get polyurethane, the clear coat. So you can actually see them putting it on. That's that. Okay.
Polyurethane probably makes the colors darker.
Oh, here it is. Here's a better shot of that. Sorry. There we go. So he has like a little cloth, and he's actually applying the stain by hand in several coats.
Wow. That's insane.
Isn't that cool?
This was my favorite stuff. Still to this day, but like when you watched like Sesame Street and they were like, "Here, we're gonna show you what a pancake factory looks like."
This is the Band Geek episode of how it's made.
Yeah, exactly. I could watch that all day, every day.
Let's see. Oh, this was an awesome room.
Oh, that's weird.
This looks like something out of like AI.
Yeah.
Or
Westworld.
Yeah, all the guitars ready to be assembled and all that stuff. Here is the painting room.
So when do they spray on the rock?
That's our job. It says one painting room they have. That this is just for the solid coats.
Sure.
And
that's cool.
Then they have a clear coat computer.
All right, wait. So I thought that was a guy like upside down. Painted.
No.
Those were his legs. Like at first glance, that was really creepy.
They have the machines apply the clear coat, so it's nice and even.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they have another room. Let's see if I can find this. All right, this guy over here, he actually applies all the bursts. So when you have like a sunburst room, because the bursting is an art.
Right.
You know what sunburst is? Like when it, like my.
Yes, you have a slime burst.
Yeah.
And you met that person, did you not?
I did. Which is, this guy is right here. This is the gentleman who put the slime in my bursts. Or the burst in my slime.
Gross.
Yeah, and they assured me, they said, your guitar will be the only one that is that color, because I don't think we want to make another one like that. I didn't know whether to be offended or,
Richie, yours is the only guitar that looks like it was thrown into a giant pair of pants on Double Dare.
Although, look at this color. Huh?
Wow. This is a pink guitar.
I think this is a guitar they're making for Adam Levine.
Oh, okay.
Because he likes pink, and they call that Slinky Pink.
Slinky Pink.
It's like their strings. But they had some like really cool colors. Like these are all the finished bodies that are gonna go to production. That's I think it's Tomas. He was he's one of the reps there who gave us the whole tour. He was awesome. Thank you very much, Tomas. By the way.
Show me the room where they get their soul.
Well,
that's cool.
Wait, this?
No, that I just like weird. I like weird shaped guitars.
This is the St. Vincent guitar. That's that avant-garde, dancey sort of.
Yeah.
Chick. She's great. But this was cool. This is the buffing process.
Buff beer, buff there, and a couple of lauded.
And it keeps going to different, types of material to buff it with.
Sure.
All that stuff. And what else we have here?
It's just amazing that these guys do this day in, day out, every single day.
Here's all the guitars, different colors, getting ready.
Wow.
Cool, right?
Those are Prince's guitars.
Yeah. And then we got to go to the assembly areas. Let me shut these. Hold on a second. Okay, so here, for example, these are. I'm just gonna go through these. These are circuit boards. This guy is just building bridges, and this guy was there for 38 years or something.
Just building bridges.
Just doing this one job. He says he can do it in his sleep. This is their original pickup winding machine.
Cool.
There's the copper wire they wind their own pickups with. There's their pots. Oh, check out that color.
That's a pretty dope color.
I want that.
That looks like it's Pizzaz's
it's
guitar
like
from
a
Gem and the
neon
Holograms.
green sort of thing. I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
That's pretty
So
great.
now they're putting the guitars together. They're wiring them up. There's Danny Miranda with a finished purple 5-string bass.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was really great. So we got to go from beginning to end. But then one of the coolest parts of the trip was, where was this? I know I have a picture of it. Oh, is this? They took us into their vault.
Oh, wow.
Which is, they have all like weird prototypes and like one-offs and never made to production. Like that guitar right there, that's Eddie Van Halen's actual guitar, that he sent back for whatever reason. There's Derek, the other rep, excuse me. And yeah, this was awesome. And they were just like, look at whatever you want, check stuff out, and I did. So
for those that are listening and not watching, it looks like a high school band closet, just stacks on stacks of plastic cases.
Right. So here, this is a picture of me. I'm actually holding Eddie Van Halen guitar. And the interesting thing about this, what makes it different from other Van Halen guitars, is this has 3 single coil pickups and it's set up sort of like a Strat. And I think he sent it back for something and just never got it back from them for whatever reason. This is an interesting thing. This is
Well, don't companies like this make guitar like? I feel like you've talked about this before, but like some companies like make guitars for people. So like, let's say it's like, oh, Eddie's doing the 50th anniversary of some kind of thing, and he's like, we would like to build a guitar for you for it, and they might play it for like 5 minutes on like one song.
That was probably like that guitar was probably just like a 1-song guitar. Like he needed a Strat sort of sound for that one guitar. Speaking of Strats, check this out. This is a John Mayer prototype guitar.
Ooh.
And I think I got a picture here of Danny playing it. Yeah. This is basically a Strat with an awesome Music Man neck. It was amazing. This thing was so freaking cool. And there were lots of like little gems there.
So technically Danny's been closer to Katy Perry than any of us with that John Mayer guitar.
Exactly. This is a cool shot right here. This is Buck playing Eddie's guitar, and Danny is actually holding the old Smoothie bass. This was, if I'm remembering the story correctly, this was a bass actually made by Leo Fender. And I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but Ernie Music Man Guitars was Leo Fender's second company.
Right.
He sold Fender to CBS, and then he started Music Man Guitars. And this is the bass that he and I believe Sterling Ball, who was Ernie Ball's son, who is the current owner of the company.
Right.
He helped him like design this bass, and they call it the Old Smoothie. So Danny was very happy to be playing this bass because it was the closest he's ever been to Leo Fender, who was like the godfather of electric guitar.
Right.
And that was a really cool moment.
And unlike DC Comics, they weren't like, here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. It's
we
okay.
have extra. We have tons. We have shelves.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So
What kind of?
Oh, that was. I think this is one.
Looks like a lute.
I think this was a stick they made for Tony Levin.
Cool.
Yeah, but I think it's like an upright sort of bass. They had a lot of like weird prototypey stuff there that never saw the light of day. So that was really awesome. But but I was just amazed that we actually did that because it was a long shot, and I was amazed that everybody wanted to come with me, and it was cool. It was just a great hang. And I want to thank Derek and Tomas from Ernie Ball for letting us go check out the factory. It was amazing. And that would be a good enough trip. And that was basically the end of that trip. But then we had another run after that. We went to the northwest of the United States. And there's a place I've always wanted to visit. Well, not always, but since I got into this hobby.
Past 5 or so years.
Past maybe 2-3 years. And that's Saber Forge. Now, I have... For those of you who know, because I talk about it enough, this is my hobby. I like building these lightsabers. I don't make them. I actually just install the electronics in them because it's like my hobby. So I pull the thing out.
For the audio listeners.
And that's actually me on guitar.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is a Saber Forge Chosen. And what I do is I get them usually empty or with just a light, and I put my soundboard in there. And it's my little stupid hobby, and you can fight with them, and they're a lot of fun. So I always wanted to visit there. They have a showroom near Portland, and we were playing near Portland.
Right.
And it could have it almost didn't happen because I was looking at the mileage of where the gig was and the schedule. But I sort of begged Eric because I was with Eric that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Eric, you got to come with me to this place. I got to go see it. We're so close. We're like, our hotel's only a half hour from there. You got to come. And you know, we got a show to do. It's like you want to be rested. But Eric was like, all right, let's go. Eric's been in like a go mode lately. It's awesome.
And Eric, who hates most of your hobbies, actually likes this.
Yeah.
Because he wants one.
So we went down to Saber Forge. And I called, and I was just going to go to the showroom, but their owner is this guy named Philip Isherwood, who's a really interesting guy. His story is that he started making lightsabers in his garage with like a basic lathe, and then grew from there.
Yeah.
And now has a huge company with like 50-something employees, and and he's in like an industrial park with like 8 different locations that each handle different parts of the company, the manufacturing. And what I saw when I went there was a lot of very, very busy people just cranking out stuff. You know what I mean? Like working very hard. I was just going to go to the showroom and just check it out, but I contacted Phil because I corresponded with him before on another thing, and I told him, hey, you know, I'm going to come with the lead singer from Blue Oyster Cult. And he was like, oh yeah, let me know and I'll give you a tour. And he and this guy Thomas Snyder, who's their lead designer, who does all their 3D designing, they gave us the whole tour. And I felt weird about videotaping, but then like midway through, he was like, yeah, whatever you want. But we went in and we saw the first room, which I forgot, I didn't have the camera on yet for, but it was like tons of just machines. Yeah. Like lathes and CNC machines, just like churning out stuff. You know what I mean? Like this guy's making this part, this guy's making this part, and it was crazy.
I'd like you to just say one more time for all our fans that are listening that are also lightsaber enthusiasts that complain about shipping times and delays. Say again, you walked in there and there were tons of people working very, very hard. And look, I've been there myself. I ordered something, sure,
and I was like, oh, what the hell? But then when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is not just you just buy it off the shelf. Like it's custom. It's made to order. Like when you order it, they start making it, and it takes a while because
it's multiple pieces that all have to fit together and work together.
Yeah, and it's just like the guitars. I mean, like the guitar, we saw each little station, and I got a similar tour from Saber Forge. Like, okay, here's where we make the hilts. Here's where we make the emitters. Here's where we make the threaded pieces. I started picking it up around the their custom shop here. So let me shut this.
So many pictures.
Oh my god.
You gotta change that setting.
Wait.
No.
Okay.
Are we still recording?
I hope so. Yes, we're still recording. Okay, good. So here's their here's like their custom shop room, and you can see they're chroming those lightsabers there.
Oh, I have one of those.
They have like their whole chrome setup. Look, how cool is that?
Hey, look, a bunch of robot penises. All right.
No.
That's cool.
That's the Bane. And they have their little paint booth back there.
Yeah, for those people that don't know but that do follow that Richie, builds this stuff online, like there are, characters in the Star Wars universe and the movies and the TV shows and stuff like that, and there are plenty of companies that make, replicas, including Saberforge, that, make replicas of those types of lightsabers. But a huge part of this community is custom designs. So a lot of these companies, and this Saberforge included, have like Richie said, it's called the Bane, and it's it's modeled after something from this book or something like that we've never seen, or it just might be an original design.
Right.
But they also do make like pieces where you can, like you do, I want the emitter from this, I want the pommel from this, I want the blade from this.
Yep, and see, there's a lathe right there. I think this machine in the corner, I can't remember, was the machine he actually started the company with in his garage.
Oh, that's cool. So
yeah,
of course you can't keep that.
Yeah, really, really, and they're still using it, I think. This is something that was really awesome. They made a, he shows me in a second. This is a Boba Fett lightsaber.
Oh, cool.
Right?
It's got a little Mandalorian
Isn't that awesome?
Stamp on the back.
Yeah.
It's colored like Boba's armor.
So yeah, I got there was quite a few different areas. I didn't record that much. I wish I had the wherewithal to. But this is cool. Here's a little walkthrough of their storefront.
Is that Boba or Django?
That's Django Fett.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's their store. They're actually building a bigger store. They're expanding.
That's cool. For those just listening and can't see it, it's basically just like showroom cases with just hundreds of lightsabers. Like when you would go pick out an engagement ring. Think of those cases just with lightsabers in them. But if you build lots of lightsabers, you're probably not going to shop for an engagement ring. You're upside down.
That's all right. Oh, here's another interesting thing.
Oh, wow, that is cool.
It's their laser cutter. They're making stands. They weren't, the CNC machines weren't making anything particularly sexy while I was there, so I couldn't. But here's another huge workshop area. They had about 5 or 6 of these. Everybody was just cranking stuff out. There was one guy just making blades. They have a lot of people. They're doing it. So very, very cool. We got some cool pictures here. Here's was
that a holocron?
Yeah, here's Eric Bloom with a holocron, which is something else they make. And there's Phil Isherwood, and there's Tom Snyder. There's a better picture of us all together. I'll try to find that. Here we go.
Cool.
So there's Phil Isherwood, who is very, very tall and very handsome.
Yeah. That is not what I thought he looked like.
Yeah. There's Tom, who does all their computer design stuff. There's me, and there's Eric. And I got to pick up a very, very cool new Saber there. And I really got to thank the guys for this amazing Saber. This is a Saber Forge. Oh, let me do this shoulder shot again. This is Saber Forge Katana. Fire it up, buddy.
Saber core, Viridian.
That doesn't have the same ring as your other one. Oh, that's
that is
really bright.
Yeah.
It's got there, you can see, that is the...
Imperial cog.
Yep, the Imperial logo there.
I wanted one...
The Galactic Empire.
They had a lot there to choose from. I wanted one that I could fight with, and that was really going to be just for, smack... Let's go at it.
And this is cool, too. You can see here there's... Just sounds like Richie's texting me because that's his text alert. You can see here it's got leather wraps.
Yeah, it's leather wrapped. It's they call it the katana because it's like a katana. Here, ready? Don't hit my mics.
This is fun. Wow,
Yeah, it's a good...
This feels good in your hands.
Yeah, it does. That's what she said.
Not to me.
So very cool. It was an awesome trip. But then later on that night, they actually came down to our gig.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So here's a really fun shot of that. And there's Donald making a funny face. Yeah. So it was a very eventful and amazing experience.
This took place over what, roughly about 2 weeks?
Yeah. Oh, this is a really awesome shot here. I wanted to take something that was going to blow my mind, something I never thought would happen.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Because ever since I got into this hobby, Philip Isherwood is a name that you just hear about in hushed tones. Phil Isherwood. It's one of the main guys in the hobby.
Right.
So I just wanted this random picture of Phil Isherwood holding my guitar with Tom Snyder holding Eric's guitar on stage at a BOC concent.
That's amazing.
This is I call this a mind fuck picture. It's just
Why?
Why is this happening?
It's like when you see your teacher at the mall during the summer. You're like, why are you here?
Yeah, go away.
Why are you wearing a t-shirt and sneakers? I don't understand.
So that's what I've been doing. Instead of napping and being rested, I'm trying to go do as much stuff as I possibly can and take advantage. And I do apologize to everybody that there hasn't been a lot of podcasts lately. I literally just haven't had the time to do it. But now my schedule is leveling off, and I hope I can do more and have them come out more consistently.
I used to when we used to tour too with Second City. It was just we made it our business to try and at least do one, just try and do it. It was just why are you gonna sleep? You can sleep on the plane. You can sleep on the bus.
Right.
It's just just do that. Just because you're in a city, take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, really, Danny got me going on all this when we were in Europe, going to see as much stuff as possible.
Yeah.
But this was particularly crazy because within 2 weeks I did 3 bucket list trips.
That's crazy.
Within 2 weeks. It was nuts. And I Jesus Christ, something just fell upstairs. But
or Anne Marie's building a robot.
Yeah. but there were like 3 like DC Comics lifelong fan.
Yeah.
Ernie Ball guitars, System 16. And then I got to go to a factory where they make lightsabers. It's like, this was a crazy trip, and it totally related to band Geek.
Yeah.
You know, I did the music stuff, I did the geek stuff, and that's what I'm all about, trying to put that stuff together. And I know there's a lot of people like me who are musicians or who love music, but also love this geek culture stuff. So to me, this was just an awesome experience. I feel very grateful for it. I don't take it for granted. I'm amazed that all this stuff actually happened. It was just mind-blowing experiences down the board. You know what I mean? It was just amazing. And thank you so much to everyone, to Larry Ganem from DC, to Tomas and Derek from Ernie Ball, to Phil Isherwood and Tom Snyder from Saber Forge, for really making us, you know, making wishes come true. Yeah, exactly.
I'm playing him off.
So that's it. I guess we'll stop the show now. Actually, we've been going for a little while, so we can't stop. Anything else you want to add?
No, I've just been home. I've been working.
I'm sorry.
Missing my buddy.
I'm sorry.
Eating old cereal.
We're too far to do a proper hug. We'll do this awkward pseudo hug.
I'll tell you a terrible story really quickly.
Okay.
So we mentioned it before. I was going to come back to it, but I've been going to a lot of toy fairs recently.
Right.
Because that's my nerdy thing, is I like to buy and sell, and I just like vintage toys and just toys in general. So we went to a toy fair, and I bought 3 boxes of 1989 Batman cereal. And it, like, in the box, completely sealed, as if they came off the shelf from a supermarket in 1989. They came with a bank, which was a bust of Batman,
Right.
holding his arms like this. And evidently, from what I found out, is that those boxes disappeared off the shelves within days because people wanted the bank.
Right.
And evidently, collecting vintage cereal is a thing. So I bought 3. One was for me, one was for a friend, and one was to open and eat. And there is a YouTube channel. I saw him Googling, like, is it safe?
Did you video yourself doing this?
There is video. I didn't post it because I was gagging and I don't like those sounds. But there is photograph. If you go to my Instagram, if you go to Morkazoo on Instagram, there's a slideshow and about 10 pictures. You can even show it too. Yeah.
Let's see if I can pull up while you're talking.
So I was Googling and seeing if it was safe to eat 30-year-old cereal, and if you just scroll down, nope. It's right there. Up to the left.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
I'll pull this picture up.
Okay, so before you move forward with the pictures, so I was Googling. You can see the bank there.
Yeah.
I was Googling to see if it's safe to eat 30-year-old cereal. Some people were like, depends on how it was stored. Check for bugs. That kind of stuff. So it was sealed in Saran wrap because the bank was attached to it.
Right.
I smelled it. It smelled like a box of cereal. It smelled like cardboard. I opened the thing. I opened the bank. The bank smells like plastic. It smells perfectly fine. I open the top of the box. I take the bag out. I don't see any bugs. You can see the picture there. Looks completely fine. Don't go forward yet. I open the bag, and it smelled like a 40-year-old basement, like, shoved into somebody's taint. Like, it was so bad. Me and my friend Adam, who's been on the show.
Yeah.
Started gagging, and he was like, "No, we're still eating this. We're trying it." And so he poured a bowl. I poured a bowl. And if you look at the pictures, this is the slideshow and 9 photos of the process. So there's the cereal. Look, you can see the little corn Batman shapes. All right. Then the next picture. Oh, here we go. Just gonna take a little spoonful of cereal. Looks pretty good. Oh, there it goes into my mouth. And no, this is not what it should taste like at all.
What did it taste like?
It tasted like what I said it smelled like. It just like... And there's some more pictures of me gagging and then pushing the bowl away. I didn't chew it. I didn't swallow it. I put it in my mouth, and it's one of those things where you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
What did it taste like?
It just tasted like cardboard, but just the taste tasted what it smelled like.
It's bad.
It just was bad, and we both spit it out, and then we just took a garbage bag and just like did like a sweeping motion, like everything just in the
God.
bag, and did it. And people were like, "Why did you think eating 30-year-old cereal would be okay?" And I was like, "I don't know. I wanted to try it. I thought it'd be funny." And clearly, it was hilarious.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for watching and listening to Band Geek this week. I'm Richie Castellano.
I'm Jarrett Pressman.
And we'll see you soon in the future. I hope you liked this show. And see you next time.